What's up, guys? Today we're gonna be talking about Unit 3.1, and I'm basically gonna teach y'all just a fairly simple way to graph quadratics from standard form. So first off, let's look at some important information here. That's basically standard form right there. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And usually you want to start out by getting your axis of symmetry, which is basically just x equals negative b divided by 2a, vertex form, and like over here it says x, which abbreviation for axis of symmetry, equals x 0, and c is what your y-intercept. And right over here, this basically means just positive leading coefficient. Like over here, if it was 2x squared, it would be, the parabola would be going up, so you know that. If it was negative 2x squared, the parabola would be going down. So there's that. Alright, so let's get to the steps. First step, you want to find your vertex, or x, and you basically do that by just doing this right over here. So once you do that, you plug x in to get y. For example, if x was 2, you would plug that into the formula. For example, a 2 to the squared plus b times 2 plus c. And once you get that, you have your vertex, and then you can find your y-intercepts by factoring or finding zeros in the calculator. And by finding zeros in the calculator, you basically just plug the formula into the calculator, you go to the table and find where x equals 0. So you could do that, or by factoring, whichever one works for you. So problem number 1, we have 2x squared plus 8x plus 6, and I just labeled them right here. A equals 2, b equals 8, and c equals 6. So first off, like we said in the steps, step 1 is to find x. So by that, we're going to find our axis of symmetry, or x, which is negative b over 2a, and which goes to negative 8 over 2 times 2, which would be 4. Negative 8 divided by 4 equals negative 2. So now we have x equals negative 2. So you go ahead and go down here, wherever, and you basically just plug it into the formula, and you end up getting y equals negative 2. So your vertex and your axis of symmetry is going to be negative 2, and your vertex is going to be negative 2, negative 2. From there, you could just, like I said, you could plug this in, or you could factor it into the calculator, and once you do that, you get negative 3, 0, and negative 1, 0 as your x-intercepts. And then you get y, and then from 6 over here as your c, y equals 0, 6. So from there, we have our point, we have our vertex right here at negative 2, negative 2. Make sure it crosses our x-intercepts and goes through 6. And so there's your first problem. Alright, problem number 2. We got negative 4x squared plus 4x plus 2. So let's start with step 1 and find our x. So we go over here, we just plug everything in. Negative 4 divided by 2 times 4, then we get negative 4 divided by 8, which is equal to 1/2. So now x equals 1/2, or 0.5, or however you want to put it. And so we go down here and we just plug it into the formula. Negative 4 times 1/2 squared plus 4 times 1/2 plus 2, and in the end you get 3, and y equals 3. So now we have our axis of symmetry, which is 1/2, or 0.5, and then our vertex, which is 1/2, x equals 1/2, and y equals 3. And so now we have a vertex, and like I said, go ahead and plug this into your calculator, and you can go ahead and just check the zeros. And so now your x-intercepts is negative 1/2 and positive 1. And then your y-intercept from c equals positive 2. So we go ahead and just put that on our graph. Vertex right there, make sure it goes through -1/2, and then +1 over here, and now you got number 2. Okay. Problem number 3. So we have x squared minus 4x plus 8, and a equals 1, which is x squared, b equals -4, and c equals 8. So let's start out with step 1. So x equals b over 2a, and so that would get us a +4 and over 2, which would equal 2. So now we know that x equals 2. We go ahead and plug that into the formula, and we end up getting y equals 4. So now our vertex equals 2, 4, and our axis of symmetry is 2. So now we know our vertex is on x equals 2, and obviously vertex is 4. And for this one, there's going to be no x-intercept, because if you factor it out and if you put in the calculator, you end up not getting any x-intercepts. So, but your y-intercept would be 0, 8. So you go ahead and go over here and plug that in, 2, 4. Make sure it goes through 8, and basically your like domain and range, it's just like the same as it always been, and -infinity to infinity. And see, range goes from bottom to top. So if it starts out with 4, you go ahead and put the little square thing around it to make sure that's where it starts, and then it goes on for infinity. So if it was going down, it would be in infinity or it'd be positive, it'd be the other way around. So we have this one, and our last problem, it's just same as everything else. X squared minus 4x, plug that in, find out x equals 2, then you go down here, plug it into that. Now you have y equals 4, vertex equals 2, +4. You factor these out. Like the other previous problems I did in the calculator, this one I decided to help y'all out and show y'all how to factor. It's just x squared minus 4x, and you do that, and once you separate it or factor it, you get x squared minus 4x. So this would be right here, and then you bring this to the side. Since it's x minus 4, you would bring x minus 4 right here, which would be and then you add 4 on this side, so that means x equals +4. I put -4 right there, but it's positive. So your x-intercept would still be +4, not -4. And your y-intercept would be 0, 0. Domain and range. Go ahead and put all that in, and once you get everything, you can either put it in the calculator or you could draw it yourself. And this is what you get, or it's what should it look like for the most part. So that's graphing quadratics through standard form.